I've got a couple questions, and we'll open it to the audience for a couple questions. It seems, Alois, when you went through that this all happened before in 2000.
Yep.
Firms, the large wirehouses all created an online channel. Why is it different now? And is it something that's going to make a difference and actually work this time around?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think the difference to the .com bubble is really that back then it was a very niche proposition, the online channel, and there was, as I said in the start, very tech-savvy people were active online. Most of the people where the wealth is actually sitting, a lot of it is are around the retirement age or beyond that, have not been comfortable at that point with the online channel. I think that has all changed. When we look at the penetration of smartphones, of mobile internet across the population, it's fully established. And when we look again that like a Blockbuster is falling and the Borders is getting into trouble, I think there's a lot of markets that are shifting towards online. And the financial services space, while again it's locked up by the advisor, the pressure is there. I think the time when we look at the asset flows, clients are really voting with their assets, and I think the floodgate is open as we speak. And I think for an advisory firm not to offer online is really, you're going to feel it later on when the asset outflows is happening.
So you think it's the consumer behavior, buyer behavior has been a big difference?
Very much so.
Between when it wasn't really there before?
Yep, very much so.
And another big part about that you talked about was the advisors even supporting at least those that had access to an online channel. Whereas historically that was always the big thing. The firm was walking a tightrope offering self-directed trading to their clients at the risk of alienating their advisors and having them leave with the clients. That's something that your research shows differently now.
It is, and I think what has happened in the last 10 years as well is that shift towards advice, and I think the core proposition of an advisor is no longer execution. And I think back 10 years ago it was much more around execution still, and if you look at what the online firms have offered 10 years ago, a lot of it was execution driven still. We've come a long way in this last 10 years. Advice tools have gotten a lot more sophisticated. And again, an advisor that is focused on execution solely will have a problem justifying the price that is delivering. And I think that is really where we are right now. And because particularly with the online channel becoming more and more sophisticated and consumers getting a great deal of advice online, it's really, for an advisory firm, time to think what is my core proposition. And it cannot be execution, because otherwise you're losing your clients.
And you think this extends to even the independent firms where the advisor truly rules?
Independent firms is the same thing. I think where it's different, I believe, is the independent RIA channel. It's like, again, and again, when you look at the independent RIA channel, their clients are bigger as well, typically. I mean, there's any type of RIA firm out there, but traditionally they focus on the larger clients because they run a business. They need to run a business as a going concern, and therefore they focus on the right clients. And obviously have moved up market. They're not necessarily trying to serve small clients with that. If you look at a full service firm, they run the gamut of clients in terms of, and particularly in the bank space, you have a great deal of small clients that are served by the bank brokerage firms, and that's, I think, is something that in the current environment where profitability pressure is something that's key to a firm, you cannot do on an ongoing basis, particularly where online firms are coming in with a much cheaper proposition that gives you advice that matches or surpasses what the bank broker is offering.